how is evolving the poverty in the world?
Yeah, I think the global poverty is increasing. And we are saying that just within 2 years, over additional 200 million people have actually moved or shifted back to poverty. And today we are saying 1.5 billion people go to bed hungry. That is a very serious figure that the world should not just be quiet about. The global political economy is such that it favors one part of the world against the other. And so the poorer people are more in Africa, in Asia, and some part of the Americas. And then the richer people are more in Europe and in the northern part of the Americas. And so it is important that the world begin to think about redistribution, a redistribution of income and resources in such an equitable manner that we can collectively use in eradicating poverty. Because poverty is not a natural phenomenon. Poverty is not created by God. Poverty is a structural problem. And the structure, the global political economy, the architectural design of it, is what is creating this level of inequality. Inequality at the global level, inequality at national level, and inequality even at individual level. And so it is these structural barriers that need to be destroyed and create inequality, and we could be able to eradicate poverty.
Okay. What measures should the countries take to fight against disparity?
Yeah, I think a lot of measures need to come. We are not pretending, or we are not under any illusions that aid will solve all the problems of poverty anywhere. Aid is simply a palliative. It is just to respond to the immediate challenges, but it cannot address the fundamental structural problems that is creating poverty. And so we must take a multifaceted approach in doing it, where we request that Europe and other donor countries in the world to commit themselves to providing aid. But we need structural policy changes at both national and international level in such a way that global policy environments begins to favor developing countries so that they can begin to get value for money or for the production that is taking place at their local level, in such a way that the multinational companies that are operating in Africa are meant to pay the right tax, and they are not just repatriating profit and evading tax and keeping them in various tax havens scattered around the islands of Europe. We must fight corruption so that the bulk of African resources is not brought here and kept in some European banks. We must make sure that the global policy environment in terms of trade is designed in a way that it benefits Africa. The current structure does not benefit Africa. And therefore, what you have is the bulk of European produce, Americans and Asians being dumped in Africa, with Africans' little resources that is being produced not having access to other markets. These structures need to change. We must also begin to see how we can engage the multilateral or multinational financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank, and make sure that their policies and focus is in the interest of the poor people in Africa. So these are the multiple approaches that we must put in place. Democratize the global political environment, the UN institutions, the IMF and the World Bank, so that people can have equal stake. It is when we do this that we can fight poverty and create a peaceful and equal world.